Warning: the following contains content intended for older audiences and may contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good night, tabooers, and welcome back to Taboo Talks. I'm Drea, and I am your host. We've been on a hot and steamy roll, and we want to continue with that. Tonight's conversation is about pornography and instant replays. To make or not to make a sex tape. Please introduce yourselves, guests. I'm going to start off with my friend over here, my free bird.
For legal purposes, because of this topic, I choose to change my name tonight. So my name for tonight is Robin with a B and an I.
Oh my God.
And my name is Deandra.
My name's Shade.
Like the singer.
Like the singer.
Yeah. And my name is Jordan.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. So, to get us started tonight, we will jump on the very, very taboo topic of porn. I read somewhere that pornography is easier to find than a good restaurant for a date night. It's even become normalized to the point that some people think watching porn together is a great option to pass the time or to fulfill loneliness. What do you guys think about that?
I watch it for laugh, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
The exaggerations, man, it's funny.
No,
I find it funny.
seriously.
I find it funny.
I mean, yeah, there are like
I get it, but that's interesting.
You know what's funny
but
to me?
funny.
Hentai. Hentai is hilarious sometimes and super weird. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just so odd.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
I find that's one of the weirdest genres of porn.
Categories.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about porn over here, guys? Robin with an I-N.
The plot. That always the interesting part. to
That's
me.
what
The
I'm talking
storyline.
Because like you can't help but like watch it, but you think to yourself like, people actually take time out of their day to formulate one plot for their videos, and sometimes I genuinely just watch it because I have to be like, I need to understand how the story go. Like I need to
plots
know
are
how
thickened.
all the decisions lead up to this moment.
Right.
To,
But
like,
sometimes
swear.
the plots are like really, really, really bad. Like, just
Yeah.
why did
Yeah.
you waste your time doing
And
that? Just
at the same time,
Fast forward.
some plots really, really good that it crazy. It does
Okay.
crazy.
Yes, I really like the role play, like the dressing up and
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel like that.
Like the night nurse, so they
Yes,
come, what?
maid.
you know?
Teachers spank me, you know, like.
She did watch that old school, like 1980,
Yeah, boys are
1985
like,
ones.
you
You know, like the one with the saxophone.
Like that's
Like you could see
definitely
the mic, the hanging of the
versions.
video.
Still get the job done. Still get the, you know.
Okay.
But the truth of the plots then.
Yeah, the
The
plots
They're
are tight.
amazing. That's why I find it funny.
So,
like you,
guys like the plots too?
No, I just find it funny because how this lead up to that, like in what way?
Like 1 minute you got like government agents that like hunt aliens who come on planet
Different
Earth,
thing
and the only
turns
way
you
they
on.
studied humanity that bad it in
Different
that bad
things
it has
Or
turn
the
sex.
you
ones that like are like
parodies?
spin-offs of like
Actual
movies.
movies.
Actual-
Yeah.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean one. Like that's where it's at. Jack
Those
Sparrow.
ones, this a little bit too much. Too much.
Over the top.
Yeah.
So I have another question, and this is actually really why we're talking about it right now. Do you think that porn is a bad thing? Because that's the way we grew up. Like, how did you watch porn for the first time? I used to sneak and watch Skinemax. Like, I used to wait till my parents go to sleep,
I think everybody did
and
that.
I used to like put on the channel and be
think
like, ooh,
everybody used
Red
to.
Shoe Diaries. You know what I mean?
My first one of my worst experience. I wake up like I said like 9, and I wake up to my brother. I know he hate me for this, but I always tell this story. I wake up to my brother, like my mom and my dad, they gone away out of the country, and my brother made a party, and I hear this noise outside, and I'm like, what happened? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I get outside and I see him like butt naked in front of the TV. And
Just butt naked?
he have his, you know that not just butt naked. You know that not just that. And he at the time you had the DVDs and whatnot, and he had it there. We had I'd say like 40-inch, the big back TVs, and he had the volume all the way up just to go off.
He had the big back TV,
But
but all
really
the
have
volume
no
to go
shame.
off.
I catch on.
Max volume that while you know the
Him a drunk.
The confidence you
drunk.
have to have,
You have to have
no
a
fear.
blast
You
that
have no fear
Him a
if you
drunk.
have volume on.
Him a drunk. And then when I call in
Yeah,
him,
have a good night.
I holler for your name, and when I holler for your name, he paused it. He had the remote in his left hand. I think
He's right- so he's right-handed.
I think you know
So
our
he's
way, yeah.
right-handed. Yeah.
And he spin around like fully towards me, butt naked, to stare at me. Asked me for go back in my room.
Back in the room, boy.
And spin round back, knowing very well that I did it watching, and he continued to have his good time. You know.
fearless.
He never
Fearless,
cared.
man.
He never cared.
He was
Yeah,
like,
I don't feel this guy.
He never does.
I'm getting it done, and I don't care. It has to get done tonight.
I need to.
Yeah, man of action.
He never does.
He
you know.
clearly say his things true.
Okay, so some people feel that the way porn is becoming normalized in today's world, that is, may seem, as if everybody watches it like it's just okay, but that is not the case. A lot of people really and truly do not watch porn and actually get uncomfortable when you bring up the subject. I know I have a friend like that. Like, I can't bring up the subject of masturbation or porn because she watch me like, ugh, ew. You know what I mean? Like,
For a really long time, that used to be me. I think it is just sex on a whole. I think it have a lot for the how you're probably raised and stuff too. Cause so like on a really long time, I used to hate when people talk about sex around me. And over time, I realized,
it's not that gross, it's
yeah,
amazing.
like, it's sex.
Thought it was
Everybody's doing it. You know,
When
you have
try to get somebody
porn.
to eat
It's
avocados.
there.
I'm like, ooh, I don't like avocados. And then they try avocados, and then they're like, oh my god, avocados.
Love avocados,
Yeah.
avocado toast.
Yeah.
Looking at
avocado
you,
smoothie,
Erie.
Avocado.
But yeah.
But okay, so some of the main reasons that people watch porn, right, is for, sexual pleasure, obviously.
Stimulation.
Education, because some people don't know anything about sex because nobody has ever taught them anything about sex, and loneliness and peer pressure. Zeroing in on education, do you think it's cool for your first, experience with sex to be what porn shows us? Because we all know that is not real.
Hell no.
Like porn, really, sometimes I watch it and I'm like,
If your expectation comes from porn, you have a rude awakening.
Using the word cool, no, it's not. It's not cool.
yeah.
But, and I guess I'm gonna be the person with the unpopular opinion around the table. Like the entire aspect of it, no. But in terms of education, whether people choose to admit it or not, there is some knowledge you do derive from watching that kind of things.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe for someone's first time, maybe it gives them a level of confidence what they never had prior. To some degree, a first timer in terms of getting educated from it, I do believe that they can get some form of knowledge from it that can just make their first time
Less
more
daunting?
pleasant and less awkward.
Okay.
Like, for example, if they were to just view it for what it is instead
Yeah.
of getting into it, they can just get the basic knowledge, oh,
That's
that
right.
the there, and then I need to
That's
put
what the
that.
vagina
So,
is.
yeah, you know what I
That's
mean?
where the penis goes.
They get some level of confidence
Right.
from it in terms of that, and it may make their first time easier. That just my opinion on
So
it.
it's like an icebreaker, is what you're saying.
You know,
Porn can be an
in a
icebreaker
way,
for
in a way,
first time
yeah.
sex, okay?
In a way.
I kind of think about J. Cole's song. Shit, why can't I remember the name of the song?
Wet dreams.
The one, yes. When he said,
How convenient.
when part of the lyrics, he said something about watching porn so he knows how to stroke right.
Okay.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Well, yeah, that's simplified,
Yeah,
but
and
that's basically it. Yeah.
It depends on the
Put
porn
the
you're
condom.
watching, though. Like,
Yeah.
some of those, I don't know.
So that's what I mean. So just know it teach you the basic side, like where Robin say, you know what goes where. But I disagree in the sense that, I'd like to say that it desensitizes the individual who's not used to it. So, for example, when they learn how to do it, yes, they know that this goes there.
Yeah.
But who will actually sit down and talk to you and say that that's the basics of it, you know?
And
Yeah,
that's,
like where is your line?
Yeah, they feel like, and then in that way, it gets people into kinks, right? And kinks aren't a problem, you know? Kinks are a nice thing. If you into this, you into that. If you into feet, go ahead, do your foot thing. But the thing is that it make people feel like that's the only way they could go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Ah,
like
okay.
your first thing, just like with your first time, the first porn you view can leave a very strong impression. Is what you to try to say.
on
Yeah,
your-
like
on your-
it could
I think
leave
I
a
can value
very
what you're
strong
saying, yeah.
impression, and that could end up to formulate your entire sexual persona. Like it could either make you or it could break you, kind of thing. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
so if you were watching like me, I think that's why I feel like I resonate with what you're saying, because in my mind I will never, like the first time ever I saw porn was on like late night TV. Like, you know, like I had it up late and a business for the sleep, and I saw Red Shoe Diaries. Like I can't take it out of my mind. Like and it was a very much a softcore porn kind of thing. So now when I think about my sexual persona now today, I'm very more of like the passionate type of
Yeah.
person, because that was like what I
It leaves a
saw.
lasting impression. Yeah. You could actually break it down to like other things too. Like for example, your first real relationship, like your first real relationship, that stick with you. Like that the day, like your first love, like certain things when you give it a certain amount of attention or even emotion, it stick with you. And
I have the complete opposite. Like, I don't feel that way about porn at all. Like, I could remember the first, like, not the first time, but I could remember who I was with and, like, where I was. But, like, there's no imprint in my mind to say this particular experience with porn formed some way of my,
Okay.
I not,
with sex. Like,
okay.
I don't think I'd mention it like for say everybody, but I feel like that the vast majority
It
of
like-
people will have like what, like you
Probably.
say, have a lasting impression when you watch certain types. Because I mean, as simple as typing into Pornhub, you know, when you go on Pornhub, you know, computers, they do the whole, they track where you watch and then say, okay, then give you recommendations. But for people who do it for the first time, well, website like Pornhub will bring up many different genres of pornography.
then I get overwhelmed.
And
Yeah.
and the thing is that sometimes it might be something where unconventional or taboo, and
Taboo.
it just twists the minds of the youth.
So okay,
Voila.
so do you believe that teens have to turn to porn? Because when you really think about it, aside from like let's say the sex ed that you have in school, which I mean I used to teach adolescent education, so I could tell you how irrelevant like the curriculum really is. I mean, where else would you get that information from? You know what I mean?
I don't think it's a necessity.
It's not a necessity.
It's not a necessity.
Okay.
As with anything, just any form of information, any form of knowledge, there are always better alternatives. I'm not saying porn is a bad option to go to. I'm just saying that the
It doesn't give the
line,
whole picture.
yeah,
It
the
gives a
line between what could be helpful and what could just steer you in a direction of very intense
Self-destruction.
and self-destructive forms of porn, so skewed. So
Okay.
skewed. Whereas with reading about it, or in some cases even sex ed, at least it's controlled. To some degree, at least it's controlled.
I think they want a lot harder though, because even with porn, now obviously a whole lot accessible. You learn from that. Maybe if you want, you don't want any people who like research, Google, read books, whatever. But it's still hard because, you know, back in the day, you can't go to your mom and just be like, tell me about sex. They were like, why you want to know about sex? You have sex? Who, like, they are run down the whole
Instant
line
judgment.
and
Or
start.
the really classic, you can't even wipe your ass yet. You
Yeah, like now just be
feel like
like,
that was
why you
Belizean
want
rite of
this for?
passage.
I think now with our generation, we kind of shift from that. We open with talking about sex. Like I know I can bring out to my mom and ask she questions, and she open with that.
Yeah.
But one lot of people not have that. One lot
The
of people not
forthcoming
have that
parents.
forthcoming parent
Yeah.
will say, sit you down. I want to tell you this is what happens with your body when you reach a certain age,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids don't have that comfortability, and so they go find it elsewhere. And they find it with their friends, they find it on porn,
Yeah.
they find it, and then they get miseducation, and then they have to like relearn everything when they get older.
Right, because you don't like
Yeah.
everything on
And
porn
that's
is
tough.
everything on porn is like, oh, he came inside me. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing.
No over
You know what I mean?
exaggeration.
Yeah, and
Like
You know?
what are the most ridiculous like porn categories that
Oh my
you've come across? For me, it's like those weird like multi-tentacle like, you know,
So hentai.
like not just hentai, because there's some CG ones that like really and truly
Oof.
like
Oof.
the alien
think
like
I-
the alien hybrid thing for me is kind of weird.
I don't think I crossed that line yet.
Yeah.
But the porn.
No, sometimes like
the parodies.
like,
The parodies that were what
The
I,
parodies?
I
They're not
love.
the kicks.
I love and
Yeah.
hate them. Like
They're
I
not
have a
the
love-hate
kicks.
relationship with
The
them.
parody,
They're
because the
so
parodies,
funny.
they ruin such
movie?
nice
yeah.
movies.
essence of the
They
movie.
ruin such
Don't
good
even.
movies.
You ever hear about Rule 34, right?
Yeah.
What's Rule 34?
As long as it exists, there's probably a porn for it.
Yeah.
That makes
So-
sense.
So that like
That's sad.
that why because of anime they got hentai. That why because they have movies, they have porn for it. They have games that have porn for
Bro,
it.
I remember Samsung has a new AI.
Oh,
What's she called?
Sam? Dana Sam?
Sam, or but it's a woman. Right? It's a woman. It's
Within minutes.
Samsung's actual CGI AI help assistant.
Ooh,
Right?
interesting.
Within a week. Within
I give you
and the
that.
thing is,
Within the
and the thing
day.
is, it was a week because of the when I see, but I'm pretty sure within the day
It was within the
somebody
day.
already like make one pornographic image of this AI, done the flood social media, done that, and we the talk everything from blatant actual pornography to lewd pictures were still allowed on social media, and that's how they beat
Suggestive
the
stuff.
algorithms. Yeah, that's
So-
how they beat the algorithms.
Moving on, because you're really quiet right now. Do you think there's any category of porn that maybe should be off limits? Because, like you said, what, Rule 34?
Rule 34, as long as it exists.
honestly, category-wise, I can't really speak on that because I haven't really seen that many categories of porn. I
Lucky.
I just may
Good
say,
job.
as someone
Yeah,
that watches the
she really
BBWs, that watches the like you know, I've seen it almost, not
Yeah.
all, but I've seen it.
because I personally I'm not really a fan of like porn because it give off the wrong vibe for me. Because like, you know what you said earlier, but I feel that it definitely create the wrong space, like teaching guys that it's okay if they degrade women, like, you know, call them out their names, stuff like that, and stuff.
that's one
I'm
of the
not.
things I
That's
love
not
about
what I'm
impression.
into.
I get super uncomfortable with the like teenager
Yeah,
gets
anything with children.
double fisted by
Yes.
older
Anything-
man, like
Like
it's
borderline,
No.
borderline
That's fucking-
child
yes,
pornography.
rape.
Bro,
when they
that's
put
even-
children,
like,
anything
yes.
should be
there's
like
even
sexualizing
incestual
children
porn.
should
Yeah.
be off limits.
and it,
Not
Like,
even
we
step,
get
that
that
are straight up
18-year-olds.
siblings.
Yeah.
18 and older women doing this, but anything with
That suggests that
that
they are
it's a
underage.
child, that
Yeah.
they're underage teenagers, and then they suggestively put them in ponytails
Oh,
and
yes.
stuff like that.
You know-
Creeps me out.
That's a no.
But you know
Creeps me out.
why that is? Because, you know, there are studies stating that men mature at a slower rate than women. Women tend to mature mentally faster. That's why young women have a tendency to go for the
That's such a
older guy.
horrible point
But-
of reference.
Yeah,
But
I was
like
just gonna
that-
say.
but the reason
please
why I
edit that
said-
out.
I understand. No. Like I
No,
understand
the reason
because
why I
just
say-
to bring it to light.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but that don't like whoever they use that as their argument or point of reference to
And
actually.
this is why
justify
I'm
this,
saying it.
That's just wrong.
This is why I'm saying it, because a lot of men or a lot of people have this idea that because men mature at a slower rate, that means that they will usually have an older man went into a much younger girl. And that's why they would start making porns about young teenager or barely 18 gets this and that
For
and
me,
stuff
it's
like
just the
that.
exploitation of the idea of virginity or purity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's the
I
idea
get
of
that.
I will desecrate this
Yeah.
little girl or like, you know, virgin body, you know, or it's, ew.
And they always put them with like this big buff black man,
Oh my god.
and then this tiny little girl.
And then it says stuff like the description says like little girl gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, big
hear how
penis.
she screams.
By BBC.
Like what? Listen,
Hey, yo,
listen.
what?
Then like dancehall songs sometimes like stress me out to like like I'm like who does that? Like
No,
And
if
again-
you really listen to some songs, like sometimes you listen to the song for just listen to the song, and when you actually listen to the song, it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like until you actually like people just listen to the things and then they vibe to it and so. But I don't want to let people like when I listen to the song, I don't listen to the lyrics.
Right.
Like they have one song. I wanna like forgive me if I not new, but to me new that a song go down there from Jean Paul. I want to tell you right
Jean
now.
Paul Space.
Wine go down there. I like the
Yeah.
rap.
That
I love
wow
that song.
bad song.
I
Like
never
I
actually
love
listened to
that
the
song. But
lyrics.
when I'm to play, you know, my car last weekend when I'm out with my gal, I literally watch her and I got you know why I like this song? And she said what? And I tell her I call this song slick. Bad. Like I tell her like that the main reason like I just nasty G, but
Actually,
the
you're
song
right. I've
amazing,
never
but it's
thought
just
about it
nasty.
like that.
And then that the thing like she me to listen to it and she I'm like this song really good because the beat good, the rhythm good, all of that. But I had to listen to this song and this song slick, but,
You know?
but
no,
good.
you know, like the intro.
No, but it's like,
But
you know,
in
like
a
the
good
flirty
way.
yeah.
Right,
Like,
so-
it's like,
You
you know,
know,
like
the
the
intro,
flirty
not the
kind of
intro,
way.
with Shaggy. Shaggy is something about she likes something about my size.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah,
and then
you
they
see him
actually
mention
had
something about
another
his
lyric, you know,
size.
where it say, if you want to take away somebody, man, you have to get power.
Yeah, that was
like,
Sean
that's the actual line, you know, that,
That
right?
was
And when I
Sean
hear
Paul's
that part,
line.
like, I turn it down and I watch my girl and I hype she up. And
Babes,
I'm
you got
like, yes,
power.
like you, yeah. She laugh about she watch me and think,
my
but
gosh.
I don't know, like, that before that, I just had to bring that up because that'd be hilarious.
Well, I
but
mean that would be auditory porn.
yes,
I guess. But
actually.
moving on, right? So we know we've covered. Maybe it isn't the greatest idea for porn to be your first brush with sex or introduction to sex. But what about like mature couples? Because honestly, I could personally say that I would love to sit and watch porn with a partner and, you know, find what it is that they like. Because I know exactly, like, I when I go into Pornhub, I straight type in what I like, and that's it. I don't scroll through nothing. I know exactly where I'm going to.
I think that's
And
a
I'm
nice
in,
introduction.
I'm into
question.
erotica. I am not into like
Like,
porn. Do you know what I mean? There's a
Maybe
difference.
not for first date, but like maybe third, fourth date. I think that's a nice
come with a certain
introduction
level of
question. Like,
comfort,
hey,
right? I'd like to
what
think
are
it
your
come with a
Pornhub
certain level of
search?
comfort.
Yeah.
Let me know.
What's your category?
What is your
'Cause
categories?
We already established that, you know, porn, not real intimate and like, you know. So as far as like what you were saying, when you watch porn, you get to see like, okay, like comfort wise, it's really weird how they talk, how they scream, and you know, the different things. So if you guys aren't comfortable like together, it would be really weird for you to just be sitting there like. And I think you guys have to have sex already, like, you know, obviously.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
have a
I mean,
certain
Right.
level of
You have to have
intimacy.
built, you have to
Yeah.
have built that already.
But-
That's not something we just drop off.
Right.
Yeah,
But it can definitely
You wanna watch our girl
help
get stuck
lovers
in
in,
a dryer?
in the bedroom, though.
Like right off the bat,
Yeah.
you want a girl get stuck
Like,
in
you be like,
a-
excuse me, you like when plumbers were like extremely like masculine and think can fix your pipe, but somehow just turn it like 3 times and it's solved? She's like, what? Nothing. I ain't Robin. Like, you know, like
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Like,
just-
her
Like
work
choking
printer,
too.
you
I'm
know,
into
your
like
work
choking too.
printer.
What's your favorite color?
the guy, like, I don't.
Did someone say scat? No.
Okay. So, like most things in this world, too much of anything is not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on people that become addicted to porn? Because it could happen, like even you sometimes you could go in, you could in a, I'm single, so I don't know if like the people that have boyfriends or girlfriends out here have the same problem. But every so often, like you have times in the month where you're very
Peaked.
Yes, I like that word, peaked. So, I mean, You know, you have to go buy batteries more than once. I'm gonna try it a couple times.
Why you to buy batteries? They are rechargeables now. Why?
Yeah, listen, don't ask me my question.
Remote
Those
controls
questions.
to televisions will burn through the batteries fast. Am I missing something?
That's a lot.
It
Yeah.
burn too fast, especially the AAA one.
You really play a lot of game, man.
No, but like, do you know anybody that's addicted to porn, or have you ever felt like you're masturbating way too much to porn?
I personally was.
Yes.
At one point in my life. Yeah, like I was. And young, dumb, and fuller, you know? Like, see, like, I mean, just, I don't know. I never really had much partners throughout my life. But I'm done to come of age and stuff like that. So for like me, that I'm just my release. You know?
You had to let go.
Yeah. Right? And I had a very interesting talk about this like earlier with the whole stigma about guys and how like people just assume that like males that are more
Sexual deviants.
yeah, like the more sexually active, then constantly horny and that kind of thing. And that's debatable, but like for me personally,
watch porn here.
yeah, that is the thing.
live.
Like everyone always assumes that the gap between males and females who watch porn really
Much
huge,
wider
Yeah.
than
but
naturally
But it's
is.
not.
but it's actually smaller
and
than
I
you
think
would
that's
think.
that's one of the messed up parts of it. Like, I think also because most girls not outright talk like we watch porn. Like, you know, guys talk about like
Yeah.
know guys watch porn.
The difference
But
in
for
forwardness.
Yeah, but for pinpoint one girl who watch porn, it's just like, do you watch porn or don't you watch porn?
Like girls are more apprehensive about
Yeah,
it, which is
so
why it's
just
strange
like,
that
like a lot of girls that I know watch porn, but you still wouldn't know outright
Because
like,
they're so
yeah,
reserved.
it's you wouldn't
I
really
didn't have to
know.
look out for it.
yeah. So for answer your question, like me personally, I can't say if I actually was, but I felt like I was.
Okay.
Like I felt like I was. So there was a point
Well, clear.
in my
I mean,
life.
there is such a thing. Like it's
Yeah,
you can
because
be addicted to porn just like you're addicted
but
be
if-
addicted to
Because
There's
it
this movie-
gives you
A
the
high.
same
Yeah.
reaction as any other drug. Like
Yeah.
drugs trigger dopamine,
sure.
and orgasm floods your brain with dopamine. It's all relative. It just boils down to what is your drug.
Right.
Like the feeling spectacular. The feeling of an orgasm is spectacular. But
The feeling of leading up to it is
yes,
even more when you really
it's
think about
the
it.
entire
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the entire thing, and a lot of people treat it as if though like it's just something to laugh at, but in reality, it can be an actual self-destructive addiction.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to tell you about as well. When it comes to when it comes to porn addiction, you know, a lot of scientific studies they point out to a lot of different problems during sex.
It
For
takes away
example,
intimacy.
it takes away the
intimacy.
intimacy of it. Some of it is the performance on the guys, and
Yeah, you
Bec-
become
they-
more.
you become like a 1 minute guy basically.
Not
1
just
minute
that,
man.
not
Like
just
Mr.
that.
Elliot
You
said,
actually
she
get
warned us
your
about that.
arousal from the video instead of the actual partner.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I just saw a Sex and the City episode about that where Miranda, sorry for people that are younger than me, but Miranda had a boy, like a guy she was dating, and everything was fine until she realized that it wasn't just, you know, him getting off. He literally could not be without the porn on in the background. You know what I mean? And it took away from their actual intimacy.
They have
There's
a-
actually
they have
And I
this
a
think-
movie.
movie
There's this movie where with this guy
with the guy
who's
from Batman.
I'm
is
not
the one you're
sure,
talking
but
about.
like he's addicted to porn, and he can't come. But with just having sex with a girl. After he has sex, he still has to watch porn.
Don John. I think is
something
what it's
like that,
called,
and he
Don
got
John,
a girlfriend
something
and
like that,
everything.
yeah.
But he even came to the point where he felt guilty
Yeah.
because he couldn't fulfill himself with just his girlfriend.
Well, let's leave the fulfillment to that because we're having these bold and candid talks, but we need to go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about, you know, what's fulfilling and not.
Warning: the following contains content intended for older audiences and may contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good night and welcome back to Taboo Talks. I'm your host, Drea Renault. for this segment, we will be discussing lights, camera, action, being filmed in the bedroom. So some people prefer seeing themselves on videos and pictures. Do you?
I'm comfortable in my body. I like my body enough for like see myself in pictures.
Yeah.
Would I ever do a sex tape? I think it depends. Like I'd have to have total control, and I feel like at that point the guy just don't want to do it.
Right.
Like by total control, I mean my phone or my camera. I have the video. Because we not the tech, no nonsense. Like there's no leaked videos. No. What happened? Right. So I have to have total control. I have to have everything for me. Like if you want to see the video, you better hit me up and say, hey, can I come over? Because
I know they sent it to you.
I know they sent it to you.
All right, how about you?
At first, for me, it was like a huge no.
Right.
Yeah, because I feel like, like I have huge trust issues when it comes to stuff like that. Because I'm very comfortable with my body, I know everything look good on,
Body clean, is it?
Body good. But I just recently changed, kinda, because I don't know, like I do it one time and I'm like, so I see I'm like, see how everything looks. Yeah. So, but I don't know, I guess I just got really close with, and I could trust my
partner.
Yeah. So I didn't mind it being on his. I have it on my camera too, but I didn't mind him.
I think that based off of what you said, what I wanted to say was that I think there has to be a level of trust.
Yeah.
You can't just do it with everybody and anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
In Belize, revenge porn now a big thing.
I mean, unless you're into
people, well, unless you're into that, yeah. But the thing is that revenge porn now a big thing. You have people that post up, and I mean, I see these. I think last year there was a big thing about guys that were considered straight coming out. They either suck on something or they take wood and all of that. Sorry for the blunt way of saying it.
But okay.
But like they do things like that, and for you to do things like that with people where you barely know,
I mean,
or you not
sometimes
trust.
it's not even about the partner. Sometimes it's about like ex-girlfriend or the next
Yeah.
girlfriend, or like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not even the trust that you have in a partner, but the trust in the responsibility of, if you're going to do that, well, lock and key.
Keep it safe.
Like, you know what I
Lock
mean?
it up.
You leave it on the like SD card, and you don't put that, you know what I mean?
Like
Like,
hide it. Like
you hide that thing that's up,
If
because
if you have it
Like,
on like your
you need to
computer,
guard that
put
like
it in a
Fort
folder.
Knox. Like, you need to protect the hell out of that kind
Anybody
Yeah.
want to try to
because-
touch that, you microwave it.
Yeah, like, no man.
I definitely feel that sometimes, like what you said, it might not be the partner or the ex. Sometimes it's you who's being like careless, and
It just
you
leaks
have
out
stuff
by
in your phone,
or you
and
show your
let
friend,
somebody,
or you send it to your friend, and then
Yeah.
your friend, like, that's like,
That's why. That's
Scary.
why
That's the
control.
worst.
That's the
Control.
worst.
And I have to have
Yeah.
total
Garbage
control.
move.
Yeah.
Like, that don't
I
garbage
try
move.
to
But
do
it's
things where I
terrible
feel like
though.
I would
Yeah,
feel
it
uncomfortable
really
if somebody
is.
were to see it. Like, you know what I mean? I like if I were to send somebody a picture, it's like, I'm gonna post up on my Instagram anyway, so
Right.
close story, like,
To give you
my
my
nipples in the
honest
show,
answer,
so
like,
like,
I would
you know what I
love-
mean?
I would love to do it with my partner. No lie, I would love to. And
Yeah.
every time the thought crossed my mind, I dismiss it,
Throw
because
yourself off.
just to think about the potential variables about it, like, because Drea knows this about me. I don't overthink her. Like, I don't overthink her, right? So, like, when I think about the things, I start to think about my partner. I start to think about what could happen down the road, like if we broke up. I start to think about, like, what if my phone get hot? Like, I start to think about so much things that I think it just not worth it. Like, I would love to, because it would be different. It would be an experience.
Yeah.
It would be something. But the potential for it to go wrong just throw me
See,
off
that's me.
immediately.
That's why I think I would. That's why I think I would go from overthinking it to over controlling it. Cause like in my head, like when I think about, okay, if I ever try to sex tape, I wouldn't even do it digitally. Like, give me one old school camera, so
Analog.
I have the cassette.
She said analog.
Like,
Roll it.
if you want this is how you like that. I understand, because I'd overthink it and I'd try to find every single possible way to say, all right, there's no possible way that anybody but me and you could see this at all.
Right.
But that's why the reason why I bring up the thought of revenge porn is because I've seen people do these things. Like I had friends that I look upon and I'm like, yo, because they have people where they share Google Drives, images of girls that have circulated.
I think I'm like 3 or 4 years ago.
Listen,
They had Google Drives, I mean, they circulate.
like everybody just will share like
And this
everybody
like,
business.
and this like people where like people were like in their 30s and you just see pictures and then when they were in their teens, early teens, they send pictures to their Lee boyfriend at the time. And they have stuff that way in our Google Drives to be shared around the circle.
Created a whole
Period in this
Instagram.
country.
Yeah.
And put everything
Listen,
on that
I remember
Instagram.
Concast.com. That was like when I was like in sixth form. Like that was like basically a site where guys would go and upload like girls' pictures.
Belizean?
Belizean
Concast.com?
girls, yeah. Back in the
Remember?
day, like I remember that was a
That's
huge thing. Like, but I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. So like we've been talking about how normalized porn and sex is, right? So what about when men send unsolicited dick pics? Then they send you the thing there without even worry about nothing, right? In a way, like you, okay, so hear me out. Hear me out. I have no interest in a dick pic. Like, no interest whatsoever. None.
I think
But-
a lot of girls hold a
They think you
sentiment.
love someone, they
Well,
want
a
to
lot
share it
of
around.
girls
I don't
hold
know
a
a girl
sentiment,
alive
and I don't
yet
think guys
who
get
actually
that.
for it.
I know some.
Really?
But this is
I
what
don't
I'm
think
saying.
guys get that.
Props
Well, a lot
to
of
them.
girls like we don't find your penis enticing.
Right.
Not in that, like I don't want to look at it. I want to feel it. There's
Yes.
a difference.
But where I'm going with this is like, listen. So like where I'm going with this is like for men, like if your penis is out there, unless like you're unfortunately, you know, you're,
Sized.
God never love you like that. But you know what I mean? I feel like it's not as much of a big deal as it is for us because it's out for girls because it's kind of like, okay, then it comes with a certain connotation. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so her
That's
nudes
societal.
her nudes and it out there.
Yeah.
It also make you wonder
know?
like how they view you.
Right.
Like it really make you wonder like what like as a like I think about it from like the girl perspective and then I wonder like if then just asking yourself like what I do, like what I put out there for a guy feel like they could just send that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like,
no, they're just in
but
it.
the
Yeah,
thing is,
I
the,
think we
the
don't
truth
really
of the
feel
matter
it.
is,
Your
the
whole
truth of the
Instagram
matter
could be
is,
you in our bloody like.
yeah, like you could wear one toga or like anything. I feel like guys, I feel like they
Just
guys
your
can just
head
do it
and the
to
rest.
do it
You
sick.
ever sit down and talk to somebody who do that? Like I've sat down and I spoke with people that do that, and it's all about statistics. For every 200 gal when no want it, they got one gal that probably does.
I mean, for
And that's how they
So like
say
they-
it.
so like
That's
the
how
guys,
they
they
think
just the
they
fish.
Just like-
yes, that's
they
what
want
they
to
do.
catch
They're not
somebody
sending
eventually.
Yeah,
just
like-
because you to get it, no means that only you to get it. Like
I don't think I'm the
the
one.
general consensus side that not feel special because then only you to get it, you to get it,
In
you to
regards
get
to-
it,
in
you
regards
probably
to
to get it.
previous
You know, I to get it, everybody to get
In
it.
regards to my previous statement, I just want to make this really clear. When I said that, I meant to think about it from the girl's perspective. It's really important that you guys and the viewers understand that I never made it said that the girls they incite that because like with most things we're going on, women rarely incite certain things, especially things that they are nature. What I said was I just wondered like if you felt like, you know, like if you personally felt like you did anything for even remotely ask
Right.
for something like that, because there's a reason why prior to the term dick pic, the word is unsolicited. Like there's
Nobody
a
want it.
very big
Except
reason
for that one
for
person, like how you said.
Yeah.
But like
But-
you got like people with one level of confidence, like like you
need
have to
it
like
there.
you have to commend the confidence to just go out and do
And
that.
I
But
will-
the act itself is disgusting. Like
I will
truly.
up you one because okay, so the dick pics like the level of confidence. How about the girls that literally like their vagina print is on Instagram and they post their own nudes? Like you know what I mean? Like so okay, if there's a sex tape of and I want to call out a few names because we know them on social media. I wouldn't have be surprised or I wouldn't have like there's no shock value for me if I were to see certain people sex tape out there. Like oh okay. Yeah.
Like is that surprising?
Yeah,
You
so
know,
you're
because-
desensitized to it. So that's why I'm saying like the more sex is normalized, the less revenge porn can even hurt you because it's kind of like
But
I
the
think,
but
I think it depends on the people too, because I remember last year when a few pics started popping up on Pornhub with Belizean girls and what's not, and they had not phone and all of that. And like they had some girls who really just never care. And I was like, oh my god, look guys.
I'm
Like,
famous.
and, yeah, and
My
that
vagina's
never,
pretty.
you know, essence of shame or anything like that. It's more of like taking back your power.
like they
Kind
own
of
it.
sense, like, look at me guys.
Yeah, like they own it.
'Cause
yeah.
It's literally like bathing suit
Yeah,
pictures.
most of them are bikini
Yeah.
pictures and stuff like that.
And it's just like, I post this on my
Yeah, like-
Instagram, and you know, like I know I look good.
Yeah. I feel
like
Thanks
that
for
don't
letting
pro
other
move.
people know I look good
Like
too.
accept it like
Yeah,
this.
that don't want pro move for just go. Yeah, so what? Like
You know what are the best thing for though?
Like, you want to give
If you get one unsolicited
Yeah.
dick pic, you send one bigger one. Tell me how much I would throw there off. Tell me how much I would throw there off.
Yes.
And I'll be like, wait a minute, I don't think I send this to the right person.
It's like, no, hold on.
That is the tip.
Hurry up,
That is tip.
you
Get it?
forward
Get
down,
it? That is tip.
Forward down,
Jordan,
one
before
more.
you do it, like before you send that, you play what Uno reverse meme. and then you can
love
just
it.
drop that one
I love
there
it.
afterwards, like that would have
And if you got multiple and then what is sent to you, then you know that they're there, you go back in your logs, you go, all right, so this one send it to me, so I will forward it to this one, we just send it to me. And you do that, and you see if they recognize
just
each other
create
over
some
time.
chaos.
They probably will.
Just create some chaos.
I love it. I love it. I think I want to take that. Like I want to do that. Then next time somebody sends me an unsolicited dick pic, I will send them a bigger one.
And you tell that thanks in the process too.
Thank you.
And you,
If it
you
ever-
set thanks first, and you say, I have one for you. And then you send it to them, and then they're
I
like,
could only imagine the thread after that. Like
That would be hilarious.
that's crazy.
this person is
But
unavailable on
your
Messenger.
subject, on your subject of desensitization though, the buck not just stop at like dick pics. It kind of the whole desensitizing of all of them things. That the whole reason why guys they do this in the first place.
Just say
Because
who's on their
it done
level.
there, it done there here, there, and everywhere on like most forms of social media, and even places where you wouldn't even expect to see it. That people just adopt it as so much of a norm in their day to day that they don't even think it wrong if they do something like that, you know. And of course, like it just I don't know, like I feel like you as a person should really assess yourself and start to like think about your actions, or like take some time out for just read your movements, understand yourself, and
Right.
try to really think about what to do, because there is something fundamentally off. I don't say wrong, there is just something fundamentally off about thinking that just one cool thing to do.
I think
Truly.
that maybe they just feel like, you know, they have something big and powerful, like you know,
But the
like
sad
the
thing
song
is that
said.
some of them, they're like that.
I know, but you
Like, they
know,
look ugly.
Like,
I remember one time my
genuinely think-
partner, she tell me, like she go in her messages, we do watch stuff, and then she saw a messenger thing pop up, one of the bubbles there, and when it said this person sent a photo that somebody where she don't know, and as soon as she pop it up, you see a smiley thing bend power corner. And I look upon this dude, and I'm like, he confident, they send damn things about the place.
But I want to tell you,
Yes.
you really have to commend the confidence. Yes. You're disgusted by the act, but the confidence admirable.
I agree.
okay. So how would you react if your nudes were ever leaked? Like, I want to ask Una specifically.
Guys?
What if, you know, Robin Schlong was out there?
Yeah, the
How would you
lenge.
feel?
I'll probably like fake my death, hug my mom, my pa, kiss
them
my
bye.
dogs, or probably bring them with me and just shake the spot. Like I was gone. Like no lie. I'd probably like message my gal and be like, I don't know if this is something you or not, but good one.
See,
And then
you did
peace,
do
and
it
then just-
better. I probably not kill myself. Like honestly, like I wouldn't even like.
Really?
I just
Bro, I
fucking
love me.
Over one
Walk
nude?
off the face
Yeah,
of this planet.
like-
Listen, if anybody got my nudes right now, then I got it because I get it.
Yeah, precisely. Like,
Really?
Drea,
Listen,
I love me.
I can't-
love me. But the idea of that would just be like
No,
deprecating.
all right.
for me.
Make a retract. I know I literally kill myself. I'm not going to.
So you'll fake
But it will feel. I probably would fake it. But the thing is that, in my case, the only I only would send nudes to somebody where I truly trust, and my level of trust for people always at a 0. You're at a 0 regardless of who you are. If I meet you for the first time,
You have to earn it.
people capable of the worst things, and I have seen that firsthand.
Right.
I have seen the closest people to me do the worst things to me. So I know I just got something like that out there, not just any random girl,
Like, you
or
know.
I did date you for like 1 month, or me and you the casual sex partners. I'll be like, hey, check this out. And I'll do that.
Yep.
It have to be somebody where I dealt with for time, where I know I could trust.
I had to
Right.
be with my partner
And
for
that-
like one really long time.
And that's why I stand by
get
the,
one
I think
certain
what
amount
level of
comfort
trust
to
have
do
to
it.
do that before you do anything like
But
that.
is it like really that serious for guys? Because I never thought like that
It was that
guys.
serious for
Yeah,
them. I
like
hate
because
for us.
I hate
yeah.
how girls are spoken about when their nudes get
Yeah, like it's
I hate
honestly.
it. They talk about how biggy the girl or how beat up it look, or boy, she detect big wood. You say how for she
I think-
think they flap
I
in
think
the wind, you know, things
The
like
thing
that.
about it is that I don't know. I don't really know how girls like. I don't really know how girls discuss it when girls nudes they're out. But I say how guys. I say how guys talk
And then talk
about girls
women.
nudes, and I know the trick, yo. That level of shallowness,
Yeah.
like, is shocking. It truly
I wouldn't be
shocking. And
surprised.
if my thing would have ever been out there, and I because the first thing
I
what
think
would have
so. In
dropped
that
in my
essence-
head, the first
in
thing would have
that
dropped in my head, that,
essence-
oh my God, damn Bali can't see this.
I just want to say
And that
I just
right
want to say
there,
that
G,
in
bug
that
up my
essence,
car.
men
Oh,
would
I'll
feel.
put
I
Bali
think
in there.
on a whole, men would feel more scared of men seeing it and judging it. I don't think, cause like when I see pictures at least of women, I was like, shit, one next one down.
Yeah.
When guys
It's not
see,
that like it's like
yeah, when guys see, point, and not even with just nudes alone, not just women existing in clothing. Men want to nitpick everything, so I understand how you would feel like.
I have one really huge admiration for women, and that is honor that such one supported gender.
debatable.
Yeah.
No,
I think
alright.
that's a bit debatable.
Let me
No,
break you
but-
right there. We
okay.
can be.
I will be
but
honest with
Okay,
you,
well,
guys,
hold on. I never
guys
said
could-
entirely.
Then nitpick at girls, I will agree with that. Guys were shallow. And I say all of them, but guys were shallow and nitpick at the little things like what you do wear and what this and what that. But the thing is that they have one thing where I say one time where girls will look at each other and find things for dislike about
Like they
each other.
need imperfections.
But guys will see each other and find ways to click with one another. I've seen it happen.
No, the thing
You know?
is
the
that
boys took over
true.
this conversation.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, like
That's
that's true.
okay.
That's true. Like, Ono they open my eye to something where I'm clearly one misconception of me. But the females that I know, when I see them on Facebook and things like that, they're so genuinely uplifting at one another. Maybe that the people I surround myself with.
It's probably
because
that.
that probably that, right? Like maybe
Ooh,
that the
that's
people I
something to
surround
say.
myself with. But that one of the reasons because I know the females I surround myself with, and I know some of the guys I know, and that like as much as I have supportive guy friends, I have some guy friends that would drag you through the dirt.
I've seen-
like for kicks.
All right, so hold on, wait. What do you think should happen to people that share, or the actual people that like put nudes and like leak those things out there?
There should
I mean,
be-
I know there's a whole law now, but like, what do you really feel?
They're not even that much of a law, to be honest.
It really
They should get fined.
They should get fined.
I think they should.
They should get
She
fined.
may have to say something.
I think they should be shamed. To be
Yeah, you had something you want to say.
Then it would be shamed to the gods.
Yeah, because with what you had to say, I think that with this supportive part, it has to do with the specific female who gets blasted.
Oh, for sure.
Because, you know, if it's like a nobody or then nobody cares. But if it's like, you know, one of
I
the
saw a
well-known,
very good example of that in
influential
Oh my God, that's my
female,
worst. Like, it's
then
my worst fear, actually. to be
yeah, then
honest.
all of them just come flat.
There was
You
a
are
lot of
wrong
examples
and
of
all
that.
this, you know,
sure.
but yeah,
You know
Okay.
what? I understand that.
yeah, that way.
Very interesting so far, guys. But once again, we need to go take a quick break. But before we return with our final segment for tonight, we want to see your comments down below. We want to see what you think. We want to know because you also have to, you know, have that taboo talks at home. But anyway, stay tuned.
Warning: the following contains content intended for older audiences and may contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Taboo Talks. I'm Drea. As usual, in our final segment, we have a special guest joining us virtually who is knowledgeable and who may just have to rein us a little bit in. Ashley Longsword is a therapist and specializes in family, couples, and community counseling and holds a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. Welcome back to Taboo Talks, Ashley. We love to have you here.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be back.
As usual, you are hearing our very maybe lewd or taboo conversations. We have a question for you straight off the bat, right?
Okay.
Is pornography a healthy solution for loneliness, boredom, sexual pleasure, or even sex ed for teenagers?
Okay, so to talk about porn as something positive, we have the research on it is a bit divided, right? Because there's the pros and then there's the cons.
Right.
So using porn can be a stress reliever. It can be a way of empowering yourself, learning your own sexual identity, feeling what you like. It can give you access to diverse material, especially if you don't know what you like.
Right.
But then there's also the downfalls, like what a lot of you mentioned, right? There is the addictive parts to it. There is the sexual expectations, the desensitization. There is also the sexual risk-taking, right? A lot of times we see porn that is very graphic or very violent. So now when we're talking about teenagers as this being a sex ed, they have a wide range of different videos, different things that they have access to. So this might not be the basic sex positions that might be just teaching them where this should go and where the other thing should go. This is talking about showing graphic images that may become their expectations or what they think their partner in the future will assume that they will do. Right? So it's not only expectation, but it's also, it can form almost like an insecurity that they have to perform in a way or they will not be satisfying. Right? So I wanted to talk a bit about, as someone mentioned dopamine, and I thought about the adolescents, like watching porn as a teenager. You know, dopamine is a feel-good hormone, right? So porn influences the increase of dopamine, right? So this stimulates our pathway, our motivation pathway, which makes us want things more and more. So imagine a young adolescent watching porn for the first time. This part of their brain is activated. They want it more and more. Dopamine isn't bad, right? It could be a good thing. It helps you find motivation. It's encouraging. It manages mood. But then when dopamine is released in the interaction of pornography, it could be detrimental, right? When we kind of, like you guys said, zero in on it, they can feel the urge to repeat whatever made them feel good. So this means not only the initial watching of porn, but it can be wanting to watch porn over and over and over again and experience the sexual fantasy again.
Right.
And it will be more about experiencing the rush than the consequences that might come from it. So they might not think, oh, okay, down the line, you know, the porn that I watched as a 14-year-old may affect the way how I'm intimate with my partner later. No, they're thinking about the immediate gratification that they're getting.
And like so she said, the immediate gratification, that's how you say it in, you know, non-porn language. So question then, how can it be healthy for our lives and our relationships then? Like, you know, because we know that there's a downside, but we also know that, you know, it can be a tool.
Yes. Okay, so porn can be a great tool, right? If it's used as a form of self-discovery and self-intimacy. So
Right.
this, like I said before, like if you're adolescent and you're learning, as long as this isn't your only form of sexual education, that is important. Because if porn is your only form of sexual education, there's nothing to tell you how to have safe sex. A lot of porn shows actions without using condoms,
Right.
without using safe sex. So it might be normalized to say, okay, we shouldn't have sex with a condom, or it feels better not to have sex with a condom, that sort of thing. And it doesn't talk about the side effects, it doesn't talk about accidental pregnancies or STIs and that sort of thing. And so
Right.
it needs to be coupled with some other form of sexual education. But now when we're talking about adulthood, porn can be great if you already know what your preferences are. I remember you mentioned that if you know kind of what you like and you're watching it to get stimulated, that is perfectly fine, right? As an individual, you know yourself sexually. This allows you that when you get into a relationship with someone, you're able to communicate what you like and what you don't like. So now if we're talking in the context of being in relationship to someone, pornography can have its benefits and its downfalls, right? A lot of people like to categorize pornography as something that may be bad in a relationship. I've heard that a lot. Like people would think that pornography may be a form of infidelity, or it may be that you are watching porn because you're not getting what you want from me. And so then there's insecurities that come out.
Right.
But porn doesn't only have to be this negative thing. It can actually be an opportunity to build intimacy with your partner. It's about inviting something else within your relationship. It's once porn is within the context of a choice that you both are choosing to do together, it's a sexual experience. Just like you guys mentioned kinks, just like role play, just like positions or preferences. You can use porn in that same way to be a sexual experience.
Right.
When it's not a sexual experience with as a couple is when you do this on your own, or it becomes something hidden from your partner,
Or
something
shameful. Yeah.
yes, that you don't want to communicate about. And then that can lead down the path to what you guys were talking about with addiction. When we do something shameful and in secret, we tend to want to do that alone, and we spend more time alone doing this. We find pleasure from it, just like what I said with the dopamine. And it can make you withdraw from your partner, one emotionally. You might not connect with them anymore. And then there's no conversation happening about sex. And that's where the problem can come with pornography. Not the actual porn, but how it affects the relationship itself, how the intimacy may change, how the communication may change. And then the insecurities come out where it may feel like a preference to watch porn over being together, right?
Is there, and you kind of touched it a little before, but is there a risk for people to develop more compulsive behaviors because of the normalization of pornography in our society? Do you know of any studies that would indicate that compulsive behaviors are linked to pornography?
Okay, so I wouldn't say I know studies for the compulsion, but I do know that sorry, not for the compulsion, for the access of it. But I do know that gender-wise, men tend to be more likely to be addicted to porn than men, than women. This is because a lot of men feel intimidated to share some of their preferences with their women, or the women feel as though some of the things that their men are asking for are vulgar, or they mimic porn that is objectifying. And so then there's this gap, and it creates an assumption that one, men can't talk about their preferences. Women also feel like they can't, and they won't allow their partner to talk to them about it. So then this can create within gender, which the studies show that men tend to have higher addictions, men can then say, okay, I can't share what I want with my partner. Therefore, I will do more of the thing that gives me pleasure, which is watching porn, and I will do it alone. And then that will cause a withdrawal from my partner.
Okay, yeah, 100%. And but also there's the topic of home videos or self videos, right? And let's say you engage in pornography with your partner, and you also, but then you want to take it a step further and make your own amateur videos. There's the obviously the responsibility of making that type of content. What would you say to people that are experimenting with this, especially within our social context here in Belize? Because I mean, worldwide, I mean, in the States, like, everybody does it. Like, everybody has their sex tape. Like, and if it gets leaked, oh well, I'm more famous for it. But what would you say to somebody like maybe caught in a scandal right now where their personal sex tape was leaked?
Yeah. Right. So sex tapes, just like what I said about porn, it can be a useful tool in a relationship, and then it could also be very detrimental here, especially in Belize. So we live in a very small country, right? And someone said it over and over about trust. The ability to make a video with someone having sex is a very intimate connection that you're having, an experience that you're having. If you're doing a home tape with someone that you don't really know, someone that you're not in a relationship with or you do not trust, the consequences may be that your video will be spread, it will be shared. And this can affect you in many ways, Imagine your family is exposed to this, or, society sees this and there is expectations thrown at you, or people make assumptions about you, right? This can be difficult to deal with in a small climate like where we are.
Right.
At the same time, say homemade videos can actually be great in a committed, safe relationship where there is trust and security, right? It can be exciting. It can be just like how you use other things, preferences, that sort of thing. But then there comes with the safety measures. And I think you guys said some of them, take a video on your own phone.
Yeah.
Don't share this with the other person.
Right.
If you make the video, you guys use it and then delete it. There are ways to have fun and do risky behavior with still being responsible,
And
right?
safe, yeah.
Yes. There's consequences to, like, maybe you had a sex tape with a ex-partner and you shared this video with the partner. After you guys break up, this person may still have the video. You may say, okay, can you please delete it? We've broken up. And then the person said, this is my phone, I could do what I want. What do you do in a circumstance like that, right? So it's important that if you are sharing videos, which is very risky and you need to know the consequences, block out your face, block out any identifiable
Tattoo,
moles, scars, anything that somebody would be able to identify you with.
No face, no case, Ashley.
There is nothing, I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with doing this, because there are the risks. However, if you're doing it within a committed relationship, the risks are less.
I completely agree. Well, let me ask our guest over here if there's any comment or question that you would maybe want to ask Ashley.
I have one based on what she was saying with the relationships where people would traditionally not be comfortable with what one partner would see in a porn, right? What would be your advice to someone who is struggling in that sense? Like, they're used to seeing something, or they want their fantasies fulfilled in a type of way, but their partner is not doing that for them. What would you say to someone like that?
Okay, so one, I would hope that in the beginning of our relationship that these things will be communicated. So before you guys reach that very serious stage where you're long term, and if you're having sex already, especially, preferences and porn, what you've watched before on porn needs to be talked about. What are the things that you watch? You know, maybe maybe both of you watch porn, but one person only watches porn with two partners, a male and a female. But then maybe the other partner watches things with threesomes and toys and that sort of thing. And there's no communication about that. When you enter into the relationship now, there may be an expectation from one person that we're going to use these things, that we're going to, you know, talk about these sort of things, and then the other person is like, no. So if you're already in a relationship and you're just beginning to find your interest in different tastes of porn, you have to communicate this to your partner in a way to say, okay, I've been starting to enjoy this sort of video, and I know that maybe you will not be into it, but I want to know your thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not into it, how comfortable would you be about watching it with me? How comfortable would you be about integrating it into our moment without necessarily having to commit to it fully? And if your partner is not comfortable, that's the line that you draw. Mm-hmm. You will never fully agree with your partner about all preferences that they may want, right? This is besides porn. And so it's similar where you have to say, okay, is there a boundary line that we're going to set in regards to what we will watch, what we can't watch, what you can do in your own time, what I can do in my own time? Mm-hmm. Because it's also being able to share this with your partner and you accepting it is a validation of their sexual freedom as well. But then in the context of a relationship, it's okay, I can express what I want sexually, but I also need to know that we will only do what we're both agreeing to.
Right. Lovely. Well, thank you so much for that, Ashley. We love having you here. We love having you reel us back in.
And love being here.
Giving us your words of advice. So we hope to see you back soon. Well, viewers, a personal takeaway from tonight is that caution is of utmost importance. Of course, it's fun to do fun things in the bedroom, but when it comes to turning it into digital media or sending it to someone else, you might want to be a little bit more careful. If you know the other person for years and you have a great relationship that has no red flags, maybe it's safe. And of course, there can be someone you met a week ago that has too much respect to ever disrespect your privacy, but it's in your best interest to partake with caution. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide if the pleasure or entertainment outweighs the risks. With that, Taboo Talks is signing off for tonight. And we hope to have you back next Thursday at 9 p.m. on CBTV or on Facebook. Be sure to hit up Colorblind on Instagram and TikTok as well to see all of our amazing content. With that, guys, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone for being in the comments and watching our videos. Buenas noches, everyone.